Attention carriers, brokers, and dispatchers. You're tuned into the E-Carrier Check channel, where we bring you the insider tips, tricks, and insights to drive your sales and logistics business to new heights. Each week, your hosts, Jared and Nate, sit down with the top professionals in the industry, diving deep into everything from prospecting and cold calling to maintaining carrier relationships and maximizing your bottom line. Learn real-world strategies, hear success stories, and get actionable advice you can implement in your business today. So buckle up and get ready for an entertaining and informative ride. This is the E-Carrier Check channel, your source for can't-miss logistics intelligence. Stay tuned.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the E-Carrier Check Show. Excited to be here. Excited for our guest today. You know, last week we were talking about safety. This week is all about health, and we're just really kind of going into it. We have Dr. Mark Manera on, and this cat, I got to tell you, we've known each other for a few years now. He literally invented the Squat Across the World Challenge. I mean, this guy has gone viral in literally all over the world. I've seen drivers in China doing this. This is the wildest thing. He's literally one of the social medias, like just a huge flame, just going through the internet. I can't get enough of it. Mark Manera, Dr. Mark Manera, welcome to the show, brother. How are you, man? How's life?
I'm doing really good, Jared. Nate, thank you so much for having me. Excited for the conversation. Life is good. I can't complain.
Yeah. So you obviously give us a rundown from a 30,000 foot view of just what's your lifetime mission, man. You obviously started in physical therapy, hammering out, just dealing with some drivers. I remember your first story. You were talking about how some drivers had some issues, and then you were like, man, I think I can help this industry. I think I can help these people. Give us a rundown. Like, talk to us about what was the life mission and all of a sudden the goal, and then where are we at?
I like this.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told like 18-year-old Mark that he was going to be the driver health guy, I would have probably laughed a little bit because, growing up, I didn't come from a family of truckers, didn't come from people in the supply chain. My family was in healthcare, and I kind of followed that. And I got a doctorate degree in physical therapy, started working in a clinic here in St. Louis, and trickled in, a bunch of truck drivers. And it was like the first time I got to know some drivers on a personal level, but also first time seeing what 20, 30 years behind the wheel can do to someone's health. And, I'm a little bit of a research nerd. And so like digging into some of the statistics, especially just from like an outsider perspective, right? Again, I didn't know trucking. I didn't know the industry at all. And just I'm reading the statistics on like highest rates of obesity and diabetes among any other occupation. And then, the scariest thing is the fact that truck drivers die 16 years earlier than the average American. And, coming from healthcare, I just don't think anyone's career should define their health. And I just got obsessed with this problem. And I spent 3 years just like digging into the industry, working hand in hand with dozens of trucking companies, a bunch of insurance companies, and just spending hundreds of hours talking to drivers, getting to know them on a personal level, like doing ride-alongs, doing like hanging out at truck stops, basically doing everything I possibly can outside of getting my CDL. I believe I am the only physical therapist in the world that between patients, I was in a Discord channel with a bunch of truck drivers just talking to them while they're going down the road. I don't think there's anyone else that's ever done that before, so I'll take that as the one and only. But it just like really just focus on like trying to understand the industry from every single level and really understanding like the levers of, you got to meet drivers where they're at and build something that's special to them that fits their lifestyle. But then the trickle down of that is you have to create the business opportunity and the business model for the companies and also the insurance companies to care about this and see the ROI, because at the end of the day, they're running a business, right? And, we want to make it a win-win situation for everyone.
Right. Yeah, eye opener. When I want goodies to eat, I'll stop at a Pilot. LOL, no doubt I'll get diabetes if I were a truck driver. Yeah, that's the thing too. And I believe we had this talk on our last show. It's, a lot of truck stops, they don't really help drivers. They don't have the healthiest food there. So it's super hard. And, unless you're tire killer where his wife's packing him really good lunches, it's really hard out there to get a really good meal at a truck stop, in my opinion. I'm sure people make it work and find something healthier, but it's tough.
Well, I always say, here's what I say. I think that anywhere you go, you can pick the healthiest option, right?
Yeah.
And, I think that you take a driver on day one and all they eat is McDonald's, and that person says, I'm going to find the healthiest option at McDonald's, or I'm just going to say, screw it. I'm getting the Big Mac, large fries, large Coke. After 20 years of doing that, you have two different people that you're staring at, right? And so for me, it's not there's a lot of barriers that drivers cannot do anything about. A lot of the times it's the environment they're in, maybe the time crunch that they face, all of these things that stack up against it. And I don't think it's really beneficial for anyone if we shame the fact that maybe McDonald's or Love's Truck Stop is the only place that these drivers can get food at, or, getting a workout in the back of their truck or around their truck at the truck stop, or when they're waiting at a customer's is the only place that they can get some physical activity in. But it's like, why don't we just take those factors and let's figure out how to make a healthy routine around that?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. That's actually something my doctor even told me. Is like, instead of getting 2 hamburgers, get one. You know what I mean? So there's always ways to kind of cut back. I even saw a picture. I mean, this is how viral you're going, man. I saw a picture of a truck driver. I think he put one of those row machines in the back of his truck. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This is awesome.
Yeah, there's some creative people out there, and man, there's subreddits of these people doing some crazy stuff in the back of their truck of setting up, outside of fitness and stuff, but it's they do some cool stuff. And our most popular program is people doing their workouts right in the back of their truck. They just want to do it in the comfort of their home. They don't want to be the guy who's getting stared at the truck stop, or if they're in Nebraska in November and it's freezing cold out, they don't want to get outside and work out either.
Yeah. A lot of people bash social media, but here's where it comes into people's favor. If you look at social media in the right way, you're seeing people work out. You got Nick Klingensmith, he puts out great content as well, but then you got Dr. Mark Manera over here. You're spreading good stuff that people are watching and seeing, and they're like, you know what, I do need to make a little change in my life, whatever that may be. So keep doing what you guys are doing. I know people kind of bash social media, but there's some good stuff on there to help you get motivated to just make your life, a lot easier, or get your life to a path where it's easier. But no, I appreciate what you do. Like I said, we have a lot of drivers that come into our show. So if any of you guys have questions for Dr. Mark Manera, please throw them in the comments. I see some drivers already are, they're saying 20 years of truck stop buffets are bad for your health. Maybe not the best, Chief Ray Holler.
It depends on how many times you go through the buffet line, right? There you go. It's not the buffet that's wrong. The things you're stopping at the buffet, right?
There's South Bar.
Exactly.
On the fact of the social media and just the negativity, for me, I just think that a lot of the times, I think this is people in general, is with the amount of social media, negativity that's in all aspects, and we're getting hit from all these different angles. I kind of think of it as the analogy of when you're walking on the beach, you're going on a hike and you're staring at the ground so you don't step on a sharp shell or trip on a twig. I feel like so many people are focused so much on staring at their feet instead of looking up and looking at how beautiful the beach is or how beautiful life is as a whole. And we just need more positivity out there, and just looking at things glass half full instead of oh, life sucks, freight market sucks, it's all going to hell. And it's come on, we can spread some positivity around here.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I've quit counting at a certain point. You came out with this idea, and you got on What the Truck and said, hey, we got to do Squat Across America. It ended up becoming kind of Squat Across the World. But what inspired that? Obviously, you, within your technology that you offer right now, you've got a workout in there for people. People are keeping track of things and things like that, which is awesome. But what inspired the Squat Across the World? Or what are you seeing as far as those health benefits that people are getting from just doing those squats every day?
Well, number one, the biggest thing that from the get-go of me getting into this industry was people didn't believe it was possible for drivers to exercise or be healthier out on the road. And me as Dr. Mark or as this guy who's not a truck driver coming in and saying, yes, it is, like, you go do exercise, you can do X, Y, Z, is not as powerful as me showing 30 videos of drivers all over the United States and all over these situations saying, hey, we care about our health here. We're doing air squats, body weight exercises, and like, we care so much that we're willing to put ourselves out there and post on social media about it as well. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, how do we make it fun build the community, build like user generated content around, health and like what we're trying to spread, the mission we're after in the industry. And then also, it kind of started because Dooner at What the Truck last year when we were going was kind of going through a health journey on his own. And he came to me, and because I'd been on the show a couple of times and we had just gotten to know each other over the last few years. And he was like, let's do something together. And I always had this idea of like, doing this challenge around the whole United States. And so what we were able to do is we were able, at less than 3 weeks, get a video of a driver doing 10 air squats in every single state of the United States. And we had all 50 states done, and it was just so cool. And now we kind of spread it this year further of we're doing the states, we're getting more videos, but now it's how many different countries can we do? Can we get every province in Canada? Can we get some people over, China or Europe doing some squats and just kind of just spreading not only to drivers, but everyone in this industry, because, like we were even talking before this, this industry is tough, and it's really easy to put your health on the back burner, regardless of if you're behind a wheel or behind a computer, and you're just working in this industry that's 24/7, and there's a lot of pressure to keep things moving and keep things moving fast. And when that happens, it's really easy for you to put yourself on the back burner and kind of wake up, look in the mirror one day, and you're like, what the hell happened to me?
Right. Yeah, this is good stuff, man. Like, this is way overlooked in this industry, the mental health, the physical fitness. Like you said, that not even just carriers are doing this. I saw brokers doing, the squats in their office, which I love. Yep. So it's really cool. So what does it look like when a carrier signs up with you to start getting on their own journey? Is there an app on their phone that they have and that kind of gives them like hey, day one, this is what we're doing today, and maybe some nutrition facts as well? What's that look like from a carrier that's just signing up day one?
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was waiting for the e-carrier check video, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. But maybe after. So when we work with a trucking company, what we do is we come in as an employee benefit. A lot of times as a part of the health plan. So, companies are offering health benefits to their drivers. And a lot of the times we are the only driver specific benefit that a company is offering. And our focus is around helping drivers prevent and manage obesity related chronic diseases. So that comes into helping them lose weight, helping them manage diabetes, helping them manage their blood pressure and other heart disease, cholesterol, other heart issues, and just helping them with being more physically active, eating healthier, adhering to their medication, and then also just proactively using the healthcare system. So about 50% of our members don't have a primary care doctor. They come in and they haven't seen their doctor in 5 to 10 years. And that's like no bueno, right? You want to go and get, you want to use the healthcare system proactively, not reactively, when shit hits the fan. And so for us, it's like, how do we kind of take that combination approach of on the ground with lifestyle behavior changes and help drivers? We're not handing them an hour-long workout that they have to go find a gym to park their truck at, then figure out how to find truck parking after their workout's done. It's all things like a 10-minute workout they can do in the back of their truck when they're waiting into customers to get reloaded, because that's the pocket of time in their day where they have, that 10 minutes to get some exercise in. And on the nutrition side of things, it's not, here's a meal plan, go flip your whole lifestyle upside down, go to your pantry, throw everything away. You can't even get like 6 feet away from a sugar or carb, like all these fad diets that are, really unrealistic for anyone, but you add trucking into the equation, it makes it even more unrealistic. And so what we do is we take a habit-based approach. We focus on small changes that they can do anywhere, and then we give them actionable education on how to do that habit at the Love's Truck Stop or McDonald's attached to it. And we pair each driver with a concierge health coach who understands the industry, understands their lifestyle, and the goal of them is to build a relationship with each driver, because so many drivers, honestly, so many people do not have anyone in their corner from a health perspective who's holding them accountable, who's taking the time to get to know them and really personalizing the experience for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's just tough to ask for help. And anyone watching, don't be afraid. There's no judgment here.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to reach out to Dr. Mark Manera and his team. Sorry, Jay.
No, I think the biggest thing from the health perspective, and I get this from my wife all the time, so I appreciate her so much, it's just the accountability side.
Mm.
Hey, you don't need to go back to the pantry. Our pantry is literally, I'm not kidding, you can see the sun from our pantry. It opens up and it sounds like heaven. And our 3 kids live and die in honey buns and peanut butter crackers. And it's the craziest. You should see it. We have 7 different kinds of cereal. It's ridiculous.
Sounds delicious.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. But my wife, she's like, get out of the pantry. Like, she'll yell at me. And having somebody accountable, man, I think it's everything. I was reading, I think it's James Clear's book. He talks about, people die, people are born, looking like their fathers, but they die looking like their habits and lifestyle. And it's one of my favorite quotes from that book. And then you just sit there and go, man, how do we change this? How do we go from, it's not easy. Life isn't easy. Eating healthy isn't easy. Working out's not ideal, but eventually you get into a habit. And sometimes it does take that accountability to get there. You know what I mean? Nate and I go to the Y daily. You know what I mean? And it's taking years.
And so my wife and I are about to have later this year our fifth 5-year anniversary. So I've been long. Thank you. I've been married long enough to know that, sometimes spouses are not the best accountability partner, because that's not who you want to hear it from. Right. So I also like for drivers, for drivers, a lot of times, they don't want to have that accountability from their spouse. They want to call their spouse, and it's not them talking to them saying, did you go work out? What did you eat today? They just want to have a comforting conversation and just have relaxation. And some people, there is that accountability, right? And that's couple by couple. But regardless of, I think the big thing on my end is, I just think people overcomplicate health sometimes, and they think that they have to do way too much, way too soon. And they really underestimate the impact that small changes done consistently can have on them. And I think way too many people, especially because you open up TikTok, you scroll for 5 minutes, all of a sudden there's like 10 different diets, 10 different workout things, 10 different health longevity hacks that you're supposed to be doing. They all counteract each other. And you're like, where the heck do I go from here? And I think most people kind of forget that the whole point of this game of health is, how do you set up your lifestyle so that you can do it for the rest of your life? Because that's where you actually get the impact. And so, I think, Jared, I know you've mentioned of you're in the habit of getting outside and going for a walk in the morning, right? I don't know if that's adapted to go to the Y, like you said, but regardless of getting out and, the accumulation of just going for a 10-minute walk. And a lot of times that's more mental health than physical health, but it's you start doing that, and then you're like, okay, well, I'd love some more energy throughout the day. Let me change up and see if I can, get consistent with my sleep, or can I, do some different habits to get my sleep in check. And then, oh, well, I'm exercising. I feel like I'm burning some calories. I'm going and eating chocolate cake every day. Maybe I should figure out this diet thing. Okay, well, let me swap this out. Let me stop drinking, 5 Pepsis a day and consuming 200 grams of sugar, right? It's all of these small changes, and it doesn't happen on Monday when you're like, I'm done with this. I'm going, I'm flipping everything around, because it's too much too soon. And when you don't have that sturdy base, it all falls over. But when you build it one habit at a time, kind of going back to James Clear of that habit stacking, you build the base and you build those habits and routines that then are allowed, they accumulate just life-changing over time.
Yeah. Holy cow. That's the truth right there. The small, it is just small, consistent things that you do that'll change your way of thinking. Nick says good habits are a gateway drug to better habits. I like that. That's a good, that's a great way of putting it. Oh my gosh. That's so much to take in. Obviously, from a statistics standpoint, you've worked with, how many drivers have you helped from a healthcare standpoint at this point?
Thousands of drivers. And so, it's been the accumulation of, initially we were starting with just like drivers signing up on their own, now getting into companies, and now, hopefully creeping in at the insurance level as well. And so the goal for us is like, how do we, there's 3.5 million truck drivers in the United States. There's like 8.5 million people who work in this industry, right? Because it kind of goes back to this industry as a whole is like, this just like boiling pot of potentially not the healthiest environment. And so how do we get to a level where, we're able to impact the most drivers and most people in this industry as possible? And so, for us, it's really trying to get in at the employer and insurance level.
Yeah. Really quick here. I know Chief Ray Holler, hey, sorry to hear about your cousin, brother.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that. But yeah, your reviews, Dr. Mark Manera, are incredible on Offshift here. Francisco said that this program was so helpful. It helps him keep him moving and exercising inside the truck, so I don't have to worry about anything. The biggest benefit he received is weight loss. It's awesome tool in managing his type 2. So, I mean, these reviews are amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's truly, truly awesome to see that you are changing all these people's lives. I mean, reading all the reviews, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the fact that you're going into the health and the insurance side of it, just because, honestly, the employer can go and get your program, get their employees on it. Obviously that's a savings in itself from heart issues and all those things that could potentially cost millions of dollars in medical costs. And so just these little things that can have that. So huge fan of all those reviews.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite one that we just had recently is one of our members has lost 135 pounds and 10 inches off of his waist. And like, that is like, it's like kind of one of those numbers of like, when someone says like $1 billion, you're like, that's kind of hard for me to imagine what that even is. Like, we just hear it, and like 135 pounds is like a whole human,
That's
right? That's a lot. And like the fact that now that person is climbing up in their truck and they basically just took a backpack off of like the equivalent weight of a human, and now they're just like probably floating into their truck because they're so light. It's like it's just crazy. And just the trickle down of that, not only for their life, throughout the rest of their career, but then also after trucking, but then also they've got kids. And now just imagine seeing your dad losing 135 pounds and like the generational impact that could have on his family, and just like the accumulation of the other drivers that get inspired from that as well is really cool.
Absolutely. I know primarily your company works with mid to large size companies. For the smaller owner operators out there that may not have these options, do you have recommendations or something that they can follow? Is it your TikTok? Is it your LinkedIn? Is it something that would go, hey, look at this? I follow a couple different drivers. The one guy cooks in the back of his truck, which is kind of wild. He had a Fry Daddy in there the other night, and I'm like, I don't think that's safe. This is a bad idea. And then I follow this other dude, and he has a full workout. Like, he has a full thing in the back. I'm like, where do you sleep at? But it all folds up and goes down in, and this cat's just jacked too. You should see him. Honestly, it's kind of fun to watch him. But what do you recommend from that smaller trucking company, obviously that doesn't necessarily fit in there, but the health goal is the same no matter who you are. What do you recommend to follow or to get into?
Yeah, I think if you're an individual who's like, I'm trying to make a change on my health, I think there's a ton of, I think going on TikTok and getting inspired, like there's so many drivers out there who are sharing their journey of health. And then, we try to post helpful content on our social medias as well. But the big thing that I would say is like, I think a lot of people just taking a step back on their normal day-to-day life, and just like, if it's just writing out like what you eat throughout the day, what is your activities, like what is your schedule on a typical day? And I know that can be difficult with drivers because maybe the schedule changes, and you all of a sudden are delayed 5 hours at a shipper, and now your whole schedule is like you're in survival mode until you get your reset, like whatever it is. But I think a lot of people, if you just kind of documented and didn't look at it from a bias of like, oh, okay, this is why I had to do this is why I had to do that, because I think we all do that on a day-to-day basis. You just do it like very, just like very, just like plain and simple of like, this is what I ate today. This is physical activity I did. This is all the habits. I think most people can see like the low hanging fruit of like small changes that can get the ball rolling. And I think it's just taking action on those small changes. And when you take action on those small changes, kind of like what Nick said, those actions turn into other actions and ideas, and then the ball just keeps rolling, and you just get momentum on that. I think where people go wrong is they go to Beachbody and they say, I'm buying this 30-day challenge that I'm changing everything, and in 30 days I'm going to the beach with a 6-pack. And it's like, well, a 6-pack on my abs, not a 6-pack of beer. Yeah. But what I think most people don't recognize is that, if you're in your mid 40s, over the last 25 years, 30 years of your life, you've built up and you've accumulated to the current place of your health. And so it kind of is crazy to think that in 30, 60, 90 days, you're going to kind of wipe away those last 20 years of maybe not the healthiest habits that you've ever done in your life. And so just kind of thinking about it of a longer time horizon, finding the small wins, and then also focusing on progress, not perfection, right? I think so many people get on a roll and then they miss their snooze button one day and they miss their workout, and then life's over. I suck. I just better go back to what I was doing because I'm helpless. And it's like, okay, let's pump the brakes there. It's okay if you miss a day. It's okay if you have a quote unquote cheat meal. I'm not going to get rid of ice cream and cookies in my life. I enjoy my life too much to do that, right? So having a honey bun every once in a while is not an issue. Now, you start sneaking honey buns, as your morning and afternoon snack, maybe we need to start having a conversation there. But it's kind of just finding this balancing act, and then also figuring out that your goal might not be that influencer who's a professional bodybuilder and you're that's your ideal body form that you want to get to, because that's not what I want. So it's figuring out what your goals are. And, it's very similar to business, right? It's are you trying to be Mark Zuckerberg, or are you trying to just enjoy your life, have a nice work balance, and be able to, provide for your family and, grow over time. Right. And that's two different trajectories and two different paths that you need to go on. And I think most people kind of from a health perspective sway away from trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. One thing too that I've noticed is the self-talk with people. You said something, if you miss a day, it kind of throws off your mojo, your schedule. People are just I'm just going to go back to what I was doing, maybe sleep a little, eat a little worse. Yeah. But I think people need to work on self-talk. Like I said, and you said too, it's hard for those carriers that are by themselves to kind of talk with people. And I get it. But I think if you talk better about yourself, mentally, and, that'll lead to physically. So if those of you that are kind of dealing with that, talk positive.
Yeah.
I think that this is I think you just hit the nail on the head, Nate, on I think that this is outside of health and fitness. I think this is just life in general. And I find myself falling into this as well, where I think so many people are stuck living in this life of this identity of fear, shame, and guilt. It's just ruining our life. And you have it's you've got the devil over here and the angel over here. And I think we hear this voice, the angel, saying positive things, but so often it's easy just to listen to the negative self-talk and just be down about yourself, or compare yourself to, the person you're scrolling on social media, or you see the highlights of their life. And I think from a health perspective, it can be really easy to have that negative self-talk and then just not see the progress that you're making as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Honestly, this is such a great topic to
I want to go to the gym right after.
I know we're hitting the gym right after this. I love it. Give us a rundown. How do people get in touch with you? Where do people find you if they wanted to get their company to reach out to you? To add you to their health insurance plan? How does that work?
Yeah, so you can go to offshift.ai. So OFFSHIFT.ai is our website. And then also find us on social media, Offshift Health everywhere. And then my LinkedIn, I post a decent amount on my personal page. So you can look me up at Dr. Mark Manera.
Yeah, definitely go out and connect with him. If anything, you just get inspiration. You get to see these positive stories. I love it. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. Again, I really appreciate you coming to the show. Jeff, Jeff said something really nice here. You are your worst enemy in most cases. In other words, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
You're your worst enemy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree, man.
Absolutely.
Again, Dr. Mark Manera, thank you so much. You guys for watching today. Thank you for being here. For those of you that do watch this on a later day, if you guys are struggling with your health or mental health, reach out to us. we know people that will at least get you in the right direction.
Yep.
We got Dr. Mark Manera here that would love to help you as well. So don't be afraid to reach out. Again, thank you guys for being here. And thanks again, Dr. Mark Manera. We will chat again soon, man. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.